So all this really comes down to, can man live, humanity live without conflict? That really basically that comes to that. Can we have peace on this earth?
Yes, well, go ahead.
And the activities of thought will never bring it about.
Yes, well, it seems clear from what has been said that the activity of thought cannot bring about peace. It's inherently, brings about, psychologically, it inherently brings about conflict.
Yes. If we once really see or acknowledge that, our whole activity will be totally different.
But are you saying that there is an activity which is not thought then?
Which is not?
Which is beyond thought?
Yes.
And which not only is beyond thought, but which does not require the cooperation of thought. That is,
certainly not.
That it is possible for this to go on when thought is absent.
That's a real point we have often discussed.
Yeah.
Whether there is anything beyond thought. Not something holy, sacred, I'm not talking that. I'm talking, is there an activity which is not touched by thought? We are saying there is. And that activity is the highest form of intelligence.
Yes, well, now we brought in intelligence.
I know. I purposely brought it in. So intelligence is not the activity of cunning thought. There is intelligence to build a table.
Yes, but intelligence can use thought, as you were often said, right?
Intelligence can use thought.
Yes, or thought can be the action of intelligence, would you put it that way?
Yes.
Or it could be the action of memory. Huh?
That's it. Either the action is born of memory, and therefore memory is limited, therefore thought is limited, and it has its own activity, which then brings about conflict.
Yes. I think this would connect up with what people are saying about computers. You see, every computer must eventually depend on some kind of memory,
Memory, yes.
Which is put in, or else
programmed,
and that must be limited, right?
Of course.
Because now, therefore, when we operate from memory, we are not very different from a computer, or the other way around. Perhaps the computer is not very different from us.
I'll say once, a Hindu has been programmed for the last 5,000 years to be a Hindu. Or in this country, you're being programmed as British. Or as a Catholic, or a Protestant.
Yes.
So we're all programmed up to a certain extent.
Yes, now then we could say that you're bringing in the notion of an intelligence which is free of the program, which is creative perhaps.
Yes, that's right.
And
that intelligence has nothing to do with memory and knowledge.
Yes, it may act in memory and knowledge, but it has nothing to do with it in its
origin. It may
origin.
act through memory, etc. That's right. And how do you find out whether it has any reality, not just imagination and romantic nonsense? How do you find out? To come to that, one has to go into the whole question of suffering, whether there is an ending to suffering. And as long as suffering and fear and the pursuit of pleasure exists, there cannot be love.
Yes, well, there are many questions there. Now, the first point is, say, suffering, or including pleasure, fear, and suffering, and I suppose we can include anger and violence and greed in there.
Of course, otherwise...
yes. Now, we could say that all those, we're saying, first of all, that all those are the response of memory.
Yes.
They're nothing to do with intelligence.
All part of thought and memory.
And that as long as they are going on, it seems to me that intelligence cannot operate in thought.
That's right.
Or through thought.
So there must be a freedom from suffering.
Yes, well, that's a very key point. Now,
that's a really very serious and deep question.